Hi, cousins, and welcome to The Soft Spot, part of the podcast, Plot Twist Please. But this is a short form segment that I'd like to start doing for when you just need a little nugget and you don't need a full dissertation or you don't need the full video essay with cited sources. You just need a nudge, a squeeze. Hopefully this soft spot can be that for you. So today I wanted to talk about avoidance in autistic adults. Because I think a lot of the time we like to pride ourselves with being hyper independent, and sometimes we have to be that way because of things that we experience, or sometimes we feel like we have to be that way because it seems like the world around us is extremely unforgiving, and if we aren't hyper independent, if we don't have everything together, if we don't have all the answers, then we'll be punished, or we will be demoted at work, or we will lose friends, or we'll lose romantic relationships and things like that. And I really want to take this time to talk about that because I think it's a pretty common experience the older you get as an autistic person. I think a lot of autistic people, well, some of us, if we find ourselves interested in other people at a very young age, we find ourselves fascinated by people, we'll try to engage with people. And what will then happen is we'll find out that either those people don't really click with us and don't want to engage with us mutually, or we'll find ourselves hurt by people wanting to take advantage of us because of our perceived naivete, or you might even find that there are people who try to love us who don't actually know how, and we end up bearing the brunt of their mistakes, or we end up tripping over ourselves in our pursuits to protect ourselves in relationships, romantic and platonic. And so I just wanted to speak to that for a moment. When autistic people are avoidant, we tend to attract other avoidant people. It's fairly commonly known in the psychology space, in the mental health space, that if you are a certain type of person, you tend to attract people who are like you. The people who are most like you tend to want to be around you. There are still neurological mysteries as to why that is, as to why certain people click and other people don't. And maybe it is past trauma that people mirror, and you attach to someone emotionally because that person is a reflection of a trauma you've experienced. In other cases, you just find someone who has a rhythm that you are familiar with. And sometimes that rhythm is not a healthy one, but it is familiar and therefore it's comfortable. As someone who has had to come to terms with my own avoidant tendencies, I think that avoidant people both get a bad rap and get too much praise. Now, let me just put that into context for a moment. I find a lot online that anxious people or anxiously attached people find it easy to demonize avoidant people. Now, I'm not here to make excuses for us. Attachment styles are attachment styles, and unhealthy attachment is unhealthy attachment, however you slice it. But I just want to remind the people who don't know what I'm talking about, who can't relate to the avoidant attachment style, that avoidant attachment is rooted in fear, just like anxious attachment is. And I should probably preface this actually by saying that there are several types of attachment styles if you don't know. So there's avoidant attachment. There is also something called dismissive avoidant. There's anxious attachment. There is what's called complex attachment, which is like almost like a combination of anxious and avoidant. And then there's secure attachment, which is what we aim for. It's the healthy one. It's the one rooted in the notion that when someone leaves and they care about you, that they will probably come back. It's the one that isn't rooted in fear. And all these other attachment styles are actually rooted in fear, a lot of the time in fear of abandonment, or fear of not being good enough in order to keep someone around, or fear of someone not really wanting to be around you but pretending like they do. It's that kind of attachment. And it usually starts at a very young age, this pattern of attachment. Now, just another preface, I am not a psychologist. I am just someone who's really fascinated by people and the way people's brains work, and have read a lot up on it. And if you'd like sources, let me know. I don't think that's what the soft spot is specifically. Remember, it's just a short and sweet segment of the podcast, but let me know if that's what you so desire. So back to the nitty-gritty. Avoidant attachment styles, for this reason, I think, get a bad rap because it seems like they're doing this on purpose. It seems like people are pulling away on purpose in order to make you come and get them or make you prove your love for them. That's not in a lot of cases what it is. I know in my case, it was always a fear that the person didn't actually want me around and just was pretending. And that's what it was rooted in, because I've actually experienced people pretending. And so those experiences actually ended up hiking up my avoidant attachment style. And I had to do a lot of self-reflection when it came to how I was approaching my relationships afterward due to that fear kind of being hiked up in me. And I also think that sometimes people can glorify avoidance because it almost seems cool to be aloof. It seems quote unquote cool to not care, especially when it comes to romantic relationships. And what I have to say to that is nonchalance is weird. Nonchalance is corny. If I say so myself, I think that nonchalant people are faking. I think people genuinely care about things and care about connections. And if someone is being nonchalant with you, either they truly are not interested in being around you, or they're scared and are trying to hide it, frankly. Or, people get busy. People just get busy. Life is hard. It's hard to survive. As a neurodivergent person who lives in a metropolitan city, I understand. But that being said, as I wrap up, it is cool to care, and it is okay to want someone who makes you feel emotionally safe in your circle. It is also okay to ask questions about whether or not you are showing up in the way that someone in your life needs you to. It's okay to ask, hey, do we need to connect more? Do we feel like our relationship is weakening, is strengthening? I am invested in this relationship, and I would like to know if there's anything I can do to make sure that you're getting what you need. I think those conversations not only need to exist in romantic dynamics, but in platonic ones. And I am shocked that is not the norm in platonic relationships, because I honestly feel like there's more language for how to navigate relationships when it comes to romance than there is when it comes to regular friendships. And I think that needs to change. And yes, I do, if I have to say so myself. All right, so that's all I've got for you today. Stay weird, y'all. Take care of yourselves. Be blessed. Bye-bye.